Okay, so for doing the health and healing and damage systems for the third-person character controller using the Opsive controller, it's quite a bit less work. So let's go ahead and get to it. So the first thing that we obviously need is we need something to do the damage. So I'm going to grab the same trap that I used for the Playmaker version of the tutorial. Let's grab the prefab of the spinning blade cutter thing right here. Alright, and that's already got, we hit play here. We'll see that that has the animation, and it's got a collider all set up on it, ready to go. So let's just add an FSM. Oop, wrong kind of FSM. Remove that, don't need that. Call that trap damage FSM. I notice that some of you guys aren't naming your FSMs. That's really annoying. I don't like that. Stop doing it. Alright, so the first state is always initialized. I don't always know if I'm going to need it, but I usually do. So this, just like everything else, is where we're going to get some initial values. Then we're going to make a transition to a listen state. So this is just going to sit here and wait for something to walk into it and get cut. So we'll call that listen. So what we're looking for now is we're looking for a collision. So when this character walks into this collider box here, it will do damage. Okay, so I'm looking here and I've got the top level of the trap selected. I don't see the collider, but I see a collider in the scene view. So I'm just going to drop this down, take a look. Yep, there's a box collider right there. Cool. So maybe I should move this whole state machine uh, down a level here to where this actually is. So let's just do that. Paste component is new. Yeah. Let's see. Hopefully that should work. Yep, cool. Just copy and pasted that whole component so I didn't lose anything. So while we're here, in listen, we need a collision event. And this is a rigid body. I don't want this to be a trigger because I want walking into those spinning blades. I don't want you to be able to get away with that. So let's go ahead and just see what happens with the default behavior and make sure that's what we actually want. Yep, the character just walks into it and it's not doing any damage, but it's obviously an obstacle that will punish you for walking into it. All right. So the tag obviously will be the player. The event we want to send is do damage. Just click to add that. Add another state, and we'll call this damage. Whoops. Renamed my listen to damage. All right. So on this one, we've got special third-person controller actions that are available as part of the integrations when you buy your controller. So in order to use these integrations, you will need to go online and download them with the invoice number that you got when you bought your third-person controller. So if you go here to the third-person controller root here, in the integrations, there's this README. You double-click that, and it will give you a link that you can follow that will take you to the integrations page. You supply your invoice, and then you can download the integrations. You want to get the Playmaker integrations, which is what we're using here. We're using the Playmaker integrations. I'm not going to show you how to do that. You should be able to figure out how to do that on your own at this point. It's just installing a package like we've done with so many other things like Ecosystem and some packages I've provided you. So here in damage, under the third-person controller events actions in here, we have a action called damage. So how much damage do we want to do? Let's just make a variable for it actually. New variable damage. We'll go over here, expose that variable to the inspector, and I'll just set the damage for now at, say, 25. Alright, so I believe the character starts with the 100 health, so this will kill the character fairly quickly. So no, we don't want to do that every frame. That's kind of brutal. Okay, so we've got a basic thing set up here where it will just run through and do the damage once. So let's take a look at that. I'm going to select my character that has the controller on it so I can take a look at the character's health, which is right here, this character health script. We've got max health, and then once I hit play, that will have you'll see a field come up with a current health. So yeah, there's current health right there. That's a serialized field. So I walk into it. Oh, nothing happens. I guess I'm not telling it what to do damage to. That would be helpful. Okay. So this is saying do damage to the owner. That's not going to work because we don't want to do damage to the trap. We want to do damage to the player. Okay, so we're not storing that game object. So I could do that up here in the initialized state, but I'm going to actually do it in here. I'm going to store the collider as colliding object. And then I go here, back to the damage, and we will do the damage to the colliding object, and we'll do the amount damage. So now when I hit play, let me select the character so we can check this. So we're watching this current health right here. Oops. Alright, so yeah, it did damage once as you would expect. So when I select this here, we should be still stuck in the damage state. Yep, we're stuck in the damage state. So what we need now is we need to circle back in to listen, create a little loop out of this. So I'm going to go back and I'm going to get the wait action, add that to this state, new event, back to listen. Okay, I'm going to lower that time to a quarter of a second. Click to add that, and then just go back to listen. And what this will do is this will come in, do damage, and then a quarter of a second later, go back to listen so damage can be applied again. So basically this determines the interval on how quickly damage can be applied to the character from this trap. You want to give the player some amount of time to react. You don't want it to be instantaneously. I mean, we could do it every frame and you know, the character would be dead before you know it. So let's see here. Let's go back to the character. Oops. All right, where's the health script? There's the health script. So current health is at 100. And I deselected it again. I keep getting confused on which window is which. That's, oh, there she goes. She died. And as you can see, we paused out here. We got an error, and you can see the character's in the midst of dying. So let's go to the console and take a look at what our errors are. So we'll ignore that warning. That warning is just something we're not going to worry about. So we've got these two right here. So it's the first one saying no spawn points are set up. So when the character dies, it looks for a spawn point with the way it's set up. So we need to figure out some place to have the character spawn once she dies. And the death is being handled for us by the death ability in our character. So if you don't have the death ability added to your character, go ahead and add it with the plus button and give your character the ability to die. And die should be at the top of your list so that death overrides everything else. I mean, I guess you could, if you wanted, to have rolling and falling be able to override death, but that's just cheesy. Don't do that. Alright, so yeah, that's the character dying. I'm going ahead and unpause that there, and you can see it finishes playing the animation, and she's getting chopped up even further by the blades there. That's pretty gnarly. Okay. Alright. Foo, ragdoll's kind of fun to watch. How's that going to resolve? Alright. You get the idea. Okay. So I'm gonna, since that was so easy, like that's almost none of the work compared to what the people who haven't bought this controller had to do. I mean, setting up damage is literally that easy. It's one of the reasons I like this controller so much. Okay, so let's go ahead. I'm gonna create an empty. I'm gonna make a spawn point for uh, our character. So what I'm gonna do here is I'm just this spot right here that the character's standing at. I want to use that as my spawn point. So I made an empty under the character, called it spawn point. Now I'm going to pull it out of the hierarchy, pull that empty out of the hierarchy, make sure it's not going under anything. Okay, so now that it's in the world, it's no longer a part of the character, but that point will stay there. And I need to add a spawn component. Yes, spawn selection. So this is what tells the spawner that gets called when the character dies to select a spawn point. And right now, there's no positions selected. So I'm just going to add 1 to that. And it's asking for a transform, which is what that spawn point is. So spawn point is spawn point. All right, so now when the character dies, come on, you can do it. All right, that's kind of a quick respawn. Let's see. Yep. All right. Let's see. There's a character. Yeah, it's right here. So see that now the time is set to 1. I'll put that up to 5. So that should slow down how quickly the character respawns. Yep, mission accomplished. Cool. All right, so I think, let's see, if I jump on top of this, will it still kill me? Is that not counting as collision? No, looks like it does it once. Boop. That's a little cheesy. Huh. Let's see if we can figure out a way to get around that cheese, because that's annoying. All right, I have to position that trap a little better. Actually, I'll come back to that later. I've got more things to get through here. Okay, so that is how your character will take damage. We'll troubleshoot that trap later. So the next thing we need is we need to get the character healing, right? So we've got damage. Let's add healing. Let's create a capsule. All right. New material for that. Just leave it as standard. That's fine. Oh wow, there's multiple red materials. Cool. That was completely unnecessary. Okay. All right. So we got little red pills there. We've already got a collider on it. Let's go ahead and make that a trigger. Add an FSM. Once again, that was the wrong FSM. All right. Let's see, heal player. All right, so what we want to have happen is when the player walks into the red pill, they get healed. All right, so set up the initialize state just in case. You never know, you might need it. If not, it's cool, it's fine. It's not hurting anything being there. All right, so we need a listen. And we need a trigger event. All right, so on trigger enter when it's the player, send event, heal player, because that's what we want to happen when it gets triggered. I bet you there's a heal in here. Yep, there it is. Heal. All right. So we want to specify what gets healed because we don't want to heal the owner, right? So we want to do the same thing we did on the damages. We want to store the collider in a new variable. Object to heal. So you could set this up so your bad guys could pick up heal capsules too if you wanted. I mean, that would be kind of funny. Specify object to heal and the amount. Let's do the variable for that too. And expose that variable to the inspector. I'm going to go ahead and just set that to be 15. And then once it heals the character, we want to destroy. All right. So let's go ahead and see if this works. So I'm going to select my player, go down to the current health. Where's that at? Right there. So current health will show up once we start playing. All right. Okay, 25 health left. Oh, I left something in from excuse me while I hide that. That's getting in the way. There's a little surveillance camera I made that shoots lasers at you when you get too close. All right, let's check this out again without that guy interfering. All right. So current health 100. Got clipped. All right, cool. Walk over the capsule. There it goes. And you see how I'm not having problems with triggering that capsule? So I don't know what's going on with that bug you guys are experiencing, but sucks to be you. Put a few more out there. Never have enough red pills. All right. Chop chop. Ooh, that was fast. Don't sit and spin in the blades too long. Okay. Anyway, that is how you basically do damage and heal with the third-person controller and setting up a respawn. So since this isn't nearly as hard as doing it from scratch like you would have to with the third-person controller, you guys who are using the Opsive controller will need to set up uh, all of this here, right? I want to see respawn, I want to see traps, and healing capsules. And if you guys want to be really slick about it, we could look at doing. I want you guys to look into doing multiple spawn points and getting your character to spawn uh, on play, right? Not on not having your character sit here in the scene like my character sitting here right now, and then I hit play and she runs. Have your character see if you can figure out how to get your character to spawn when you hit play, so that the character is being instantiated at play, not a part of the scene. And that will that problem you guys are having where the abilities are getting wiped, which you'll notice doesn't happen to me. So I don't know what's going on in your guys' scenes, but it doesn't happen to me. But anyway, that'll be one way for you guys to get around it. So that it'll always, whenever you push play, it will be pulling from the prefab and spawning the character. The other thing we could look at doing is, because the one thing that's kind of bothersome is that there's no damage animation. Maybe I'll look into doing that. Well, I'll have to do that in another recording. But yeah, because there's no feedback telling you that you're getting cut up. Ooh, we could put blood splatters in there too. Okay, well, I'm getting ahead of myself, but that's what I expect from you guys. Make a couple of traps, a couple of ways to die, and ways to recover your health.